Good morning. Can you hear me on the other side? Right, looks like we've got sound here. Good morning, goeiemorgen, kia ora. And a special good morning this morning to Morgan Willemse, becoming our 5,000th member. 5,000, is that the correct pronunciation there? The 5,000ste een. Yep, guys, this is probably the last time you'll be seeing this Facebook Live in this type of format. We're planning a few new things from next week onwards. So let's hope everything works out. We're currently still on using our airtime here as we've moved into the new premises, and we have ADSL from somewhere today, but it's not up and running yet. And then presumably next week by Thursday or so we'll have fiber. We're getting quite fast fiber here, so it'll be better for everybody else as well. All right, let's start with this morning. Insurance. Quickly back to the insurance. I get a lot of questions asked by people, but what do we do with our South African insurance? Guys, keep your insurance until you have reached New Zealand. That is the biggest thing. Is keep your insurance until you've reached New Zealand. They will cover you if anything happens, like in case the airplane falls out of the sky or something bad happens to you, and then they will cover you. It's only when you need to claim on stuff like cancer that you need to go back to South Africa to appear in front of a doctor that's registered there with the Medical Board of South Africa before they will assess your claim. So on the other hand, keep your insurance until you are here. Then you contact me and I will help you change that over to New Zealand insurance, which is quite cheaper. Interesting thing, the quotes I get this last few, I would say the last few weeks, 2 weeks, a lot of people from PPS, the guys that's got the diplomas and degrees coming over now. It's quite interesting. I like to see the fluctuations of who's coming over to New Zealand and who's moved here and so on. On the other side, wills. A lot of South Africans are in New Zealand without wills. If anything happens to you, your South African will does not cover you here. With all our insurance packages, we do give out free wills. And that is just to help you guys set up the site here. If you should do a will through an attorney, probably costs you about $700 per person. Interesting thing about New Zealand wills is you need one for the husband and one for the wife. You can't get joint wills like in South Africa. All right, let's quickly see here. What else do we have this morning? I promised to talk a bit about crime as well. Crime, money, and moving to New Zealand. That's the topics this morning. So let's start off with the crime. And I was made to promise by the wife that I won't sugarcoat anything this morning. So this morning I'm going to give you the crime as the way I see it. And I am an ex-policeman from South Africa, so I can tell you exactly what I see in the crime and how I read it. All right, let's start off. Let's start off with that, the bad things, the killing. People being killed in New Zealand. At any time, murder is always a bad thing. I don't care where it happens or for what reason. So I will never sugarcoat murder at all. Between 2007 and 2016, that's a period of 9 years, there were 686 murders in New Zealand. So 686 murders in New Zealand in a period of 9 years. Okay, keep that in mind. You can do the maths there. The Maori accounted for approximately a third of all victims killed here. Interesting thing, males, 62% of all victims were males. And then the annual lowest homicide figure, that's murder rate, was 58. That was in 2016. So they've got about 58, 60 murders per year here. So 7 out of 10 homicides were murders, so it means people were murdered. Homicides, and all family-linked homicide victims, 40% were male and 60% were female. So the higher killing of females in family violence. Family violence is one of the things that contributes a bit more to the murder rate in New Zealand. And children under the age of 5 made up of 12% of this stats. So Of the 686 people killed in the 9 years, 12% were kids under 5. That's not good news. But at least there's not a lot, or there's none of these house break-ins where they break in, steal, and murder you that you guys are getting used to in South Africa. 686 people at 58 per year about. It's about the South African murder rate per day. You gotta weigh this up. People don't go around and kill you just because you've got a cell phone or because they think you've got money in your pocket. So that's a few of the things, the stats on murders. I want to go back to a few other things. Burglaries. In the past year, and this is by the year ending January 2019, there was 48,000 burglaries in New Zealand. All right, 48,000 burglaries in homes. Okay, 48,000 burglaries in homes. Okay, I want to clarify burglary. In South Africa, burglary means to forcefully remove an object to gain entry into a premises. Okay. In New Zealand, it doesn't mean the same thing. Burglary could mean anything that's on your premises that's being stolen. So tonight, if your hosepipe is lying outside and somebody steals your hosepipe, that's burglary. If your car is standing on your premises and they break in your car, that's burglary. Okay. So keep that in mind. But the good thing is it has decreased by 4.9% it's nearly 5% decreased in the past period of time. There were 16,000 burglaries, which was non-residential, which was business burglaries. So the main concern here is the residential burglaries, but not a lot of them is really breaking into your house. A lot of them is stealing stuff that stands around, a gas bottle here, that type of stuff. So keep that in mind. It's a bit of different than in South Africa, and a bit of different the way that they present it this side. They call theft and related offences, theft and illegal use, 52,000 theft and illegal usage. Theft and illegal use of motor vehicles, there was 28,000 cars or illegal use of motor vehicles. That's quite a lot, but most of those cars they got back. It's an island. You just don't take your car and drive it over the border to somebody else. So that's a crime stats compiled in a short period of time. But according to the Global Peace Index in 2018, New Zealand was still the second safest place in the world. All right, get this, second safest place in the world. The only place that beat us was Iceland. Then number 3 was Austria. Number 4 was Portugal, and number 5 came in Denmark. All right. So the only place that had less murders and that had less break-ins and burglaries and car thefts was Iceland. And it's pretty cold there. Pretty cold there. So New Zealand is not that isolated. We're not immune to these type of things. It does happen here. The amount of violence that goes with crimes here is not that high. In the area where we live in Tauranga, I know about 2 murders in I would say the past year that happened here. One was a father and a son that was had a few beers too many, and the other one was where a father presumably, I'm not going to say presumably here, killed his kid. The kid was 18 months old. So it was the 2 incidents, and both of them you can see was residential or happened in-house in the family environment. Nobody that came in and killed them or robbed them or just murdered them because they were there. So I don't want to go on and about South African stats, but you can see it's quite different than the South African stats. To be quite frank, some nights I forget my door open and nobody's ever come in. So it just happens that all these stats, yes, it's for the North and the South Islands. The South Islands got less people than the North Island. They had a spate of robberies in the South Island the other day. Somebody stole or did some break-ins into into business properties and stole watches. Believe it or not, watches. There's still a lot of watches. But within an hour, they knew who it was and they were looking for him. I don't know if they caught them yet. A question here that came up, it says somebody's asking about the rape stat. To be quite frank, I haven't heard of anybody being raped in the year that I am in New Zealand. I haven't heard of anybody being raped. I do know rape is a bit of a thing that sometimes goes, or people don't easily tell people or the police about that, but I haven't heard about anybody being raped here, which is actually quite good news. I haven't got any stats on that, sorry. I had a look this morning, but I couldn't find anything on rape. Because their main concern is theft and crimes against property and common assault. I mean, common assault, there's 23,000 common assaults. That's where somebody hits the other one. It's normally a bit under the influence of other type of stuff like alcohol and that nicer stuff that people try and use. Quick thing, I've got the chart open in front of me. Sorry, I can't share that with you guys. Facebook hasn't got this capability yet. The murder victims in New Zealand 2013 to 2015. And somebody asked about Auckland and Auckland South and the dodgy areas there. Auckland has got dodgy areas, according to New Zealand, but it's not as dodgy as some areas in South Africa. Auckland Central, in those period of 2013 to 2015, had 3 murders. Okay, for the 2 years, 3 murders. Auckland West has got 4 murders. And here comes the bad part. Auckland East had 6 murders in 2 years. Okay. All right, North Shore had 3. Other places that shows up is Waitakere at 7. Manukau is also part of Auckland. South at 8. Manukau in total had about 10, 15 murders in 2 years' time. In the area of Waikato, 5. Taupo at 3. Bay of Plenty, that's where we are, at 4, while Hamilton in its own had 8. So presumably you were nearly as safe in Auckland as you could have been in Hamilton, although population-wise Hamilton had more murders than Auckland. It may sound weird, but yep. How safe is it for children to walk to school? Dominic Delahunt asked that. Dominic, every day, kids all over New Zealand walk or ride on their little scooters. They've got these little push scooters, and that's what they use to go to school. Every day they go on their own there. For the South Africans, that is a new thing. We worry about our kids, and I mean, I as a parent whose kids are already grown up, I still some mornings think, wow, where's these kids going? And then I realize I am in New Zealand. It is safe for them to do it that way. You will see them from about the age 5, 6 on their own, early morning, going off to school on their own. No issues on that. Let's quickly look further what else I have found here. The police chief said the country's murder rate is as low as it's been in 40 years. They are currently working hard to solve murders. They're working hard to get things down to what they call a normal level. And another thing is, all these criminals, or most of these criminals, get caught on the I would say more dangerous crimes, the murders, that type of things. They at a certain stage in 2005, they struggled a bit, and then thereafter it came right, and they've got a nearly 75% figure that they are solving these cases. Sorry, I got lost a bit in the English words there for a minute. As you all know, I'm actually Afrikaans, but let's get it. Police resolve more than 96% of homicide cases. So 96% of all murder cases is solved. I know in this area by Plenty, there's one murder case, quite an old murder case, which is something like 20 years old, but it's still, nobody knows what happened there. Girl was found on a stream 20 years ago, dead. So, yep, that's one of the ones that I know of. The rest is quite solved. Most of the crimes that are committed, they are caught very soon. They had a break-in the other day into a police station here. The police have collected a lot of weapons from different people, and somebody broke into the police station and stole these weapons. I think it was 11 weapons. They've currently found back 9 of the 11 weapons, and they've caught the guy who broke in. And that's all within about, I would say, 48 hours that this has happened. So, to all of you who saw the photo I posted earlier, I had to show you this. This is the size of, let me turn that around. This is the size of the Smarties that my wife allows me to eat these days. I don't know why. Perhaps somebody should talk to her. I mean, how safe is it for women walking alone at night? All right. This is also a major concern for me. And I've got a wife, and in 2016, we were in the Auckland Harbour area. At about, I would think about 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night. We had some jet lag, and we didn't know how to fall asleep, and we decided to do a drive around. And in the harbour area that night, I saw women running. First of all, I thought they were running away. And then I saw, no, they were fitness freaks. They were just running. Why they would do that, I don't know. But anyway, these women were all alone at night in the harbour area, which I probably think could be one of the most dangerous areas in New Zealand or in any country. If you go down to the beach this morning, it's still dark outside. It's still dark. Only lights there. If you go down to the beach this morning, you'll probably find that most of the people on the beach at this time of the morning is women. Believe it or not, it's women. They're not being threatened. There's nobody chasing them. There's nobody trying to kill them, rape them. They're there. They're running, they're practicing, they're doing all the good things. One thing about the Kiwis is they are very active. They are really very, very active. If you are ever in Tauranga and you go up to Mount Manganui at this time of the morning, you'll see the lights all over the mount. And it's people running up and down the mount. It's quite a steep mountain. I've climbed it 20 times this year already. I did not complete the challenge the other day. But yep, I've done it 20 times. And this time of the morning, people will be up and down that mountain, running up and down, just for fitness sake. So that's basically how safe women are in this country. I want to talk to you about a few other things as well. Kidnapping stats. Also, I haven't heard of anybody being kidnapped. Guys, one thing about New Zealand is, if you stop at a robot, there's nobody running nearer to wash your car windows. If they do, and it has been, there has been an incident, and it's been in all over the newspapers, it's even been on television, of a guy doing that in Tauranga. There was another guy, I think, down in Christchurch that did that, and the police was involved. They eventually came and removed this guy. There's very few beggars. There's nobody coming to you to ask for money, really. I've seen 1 or 2 beggars sitting down in Auckland, but with their hat in front of them, begging. That was the nearest. Nobody has ever come up to my window trying to sell me anything, trying to wash my car windows. I never felt threatened here. To be quite frank, I've never felt threatened here. On the other hand, people walk from house to house. They're mostly these religious types that come to tell you how to get up top. That's the guys that goes around to your houses. I've never had anybody come around begging to my house. I had the guys from the Heart Foundation asking for money. I had the guys from the St. John's Ambulance asking for money. In our current, we've got a little centre here at the bottom where I live. They've got a guy there from another foundation for children also that ask for money now. They stop you and just explain to you how it works, and you can say no and walk on. And Elf and Skalkway is asking of car guards. And now they don't even steal cars here. So, like guys, they do steal cars here from time to time. Very few of them, but they do steal those cars, and the police get them back. But we do not have any car guards. I think the Kiwis would absolutely go crazy when they see a car guard. They won't know what to do with it. So, yeah, Chantel, it must be nice to stop without somebody knocking on your car window. It is different. For the first few months driving through the local area, I used to keep my windows up, as in South Africa, doors locked, blah, blah, blah. Now I drive, window is down, if it's not too cold. Now let's talk about the weather. That's another thing. The island has gone colder. I'm sitting here in short sleeves this morning. It's because the aircon against the wall is up and running, so that's keeping me warm. But the island has gone colder. I believe they down in the south it's a bit more cooler than up in the north. We are reaching temperatures of about 11 now in the mornings, and I think it'll go still down a bit. So any sport we can do, like kickboxing or netball. I don't play netball. I tried kickboxing once, but that hurt a bit. So, but they must be around here. There must be the type of sports. I see sports are a big thing here, so I think netball and kickboxing probably would be, but kickboxing would be frowned upon. It's a bit dangerous and violent. I had a few emails this week again, people asking, we don't know what to do, what's the documents, what do we need? I was going to run again through the documents that you guys need to do. Unabridged birth certificates. This is all for immigration. Get this ready before you even think of moving to New Zealand. Okay, let's step one step back. Why are you coming to New Zealand? You've got to ask you this. Why am I willing to leave the safety and security of South Africa to come to New Zealand? Why must I pack up everything, put it in a box, and ship it across the sea to the furthest point on this globe, and the thing is round, on this globe, to move away from what I know, to move away from my family? You've got to ask yourself that question. And if you get a reasonable answer there, and I'm not talking, the answer must not be to earn more money. You probably are going to earn more money here, but living costs could also be a bit more expensive. So there's got to be a reasonable answer for why would you move away from South Africa. Okay, once you've reached that answer, and if it's good in your books, then you've got to have a few things ready before you even think of applying for work. I see too many people get a job opportunity and then they are not paper ready. So paper ready means, what documents do you need? Documents, point one, all your unabridged birth certificates and your passport. Those are big things. If you can't get your unabridged marriage certificate, you can get away with that. You can get away with not having an unabridged marriage certificate. But the birth certificate, it's not negotiable. You must have a passport. Then also get reference letters from your employers. I know sometimes it's a bit difficult to ask them while you're still working for them, but perhaps you've worked in the same industry with other people, and go and ask them for reference letters, because it's got to be reference letter got to be the same as to what the job you're applying for, as well as relevant to your CV at the end of the day. These are the paperwork that you've got to get ready before you even apply for a position. Once you are in the position that you can apply, start applying for your positions, and then if you get your job offer, get your medicals done, get your police clearance. That's the basics. There's a bit more to this as well. Ask an immigration officer, or if you're struggling to find an immigration person, you can speak to Vanita Herban. She's also part of our Facebook page. All right, I saw a few questions here. We arrived 4 weeks ago. Is medical aid necessary? Government hospitals is great. There's no doubt about that. Government hospitals is really great. Government hospitals is very good. But the problem is that you always fall in a line, in a queue. So where are you in this queue? What is wrong with you? If you have something that is very, very urgent, heart attack, that type of things, you will go into number one in the queue. But if you have got something that's not that urgent, you will fall into the queue. You could end up waiting a year for something like tonsils, and that is where your medical aid or your health cover comes in, and that just puts you in front of the queue. So just keep that in mind. That is the basics of health cover in this country. It takes you in the same type of queue, but putting you in first. If you've got tonsils and somebody's got a heart attack, they'll probably still end up in front of you, but you'll have a year or less that you are waiting on in this queue. All right, Robin Williams wants to know about fishing trip. They do catch the game fish here. It's very big here. All the bullfish and all those other things. I haven't caught that yet. One day, if I make too much money, I'll take that and get myself a charter and catch one of those big things. Fishing is good here for about another 2 months or so, and then it takes off. It's all to do with the water and the heat in the water. So the water is going to start getting colder now until about December, and from December onwards, for about 4 or 5 months, you'll have good fishing again. For documents, must they be certified by other commissioners except police? No. If you've got your unabridged certificates, it's unabridged. It's an official document there. Also read police clearances must reflect maiden names. I haven't come about that yet, but I think it's probably a good thing to have that. So, what else would you want to talk about? I wanted to talk a bit about money. Money. How much money do you need to come to New Zealand? I had this as a topic a while ago, and it seems that like there's a bit of a confusion regarding that. Remember, you are going to spend money while you are in South Africa already. You are going to unabridged certificates, your medicals, your passports, your plane tickets, your container if you are bringing one. All of that is going to cost you money in South Africa already. And then once you are in New Zealand, you're also going to need some money because for the first time, you've got to buy everything that's needed in your house, all your food stuff. That can be quite a heavy expense. You can think about your cupboards now. What will it cost to fill them from zero? Because you are coming here with two empty cupboards. So it's just one thing to keep in mind. That's all of these things that you will need money for. Then I have a little I've got a little file there. Let me just see. I think it's under files. It's under files of a basis on what you would need this side, and you can go and have a look at that and play around with that and also see where your budget fits in there. Let's take a few questions now. If my husband is the main applicant, can I work after we have settled? That's from Charlotte. It all depends on what visa you guys are coming on. It all depends on that. I know some people comes on study visas and they're only allowed a certain amount of hours, but that all depends on the visa you come on. The backlog on the visas, yeah, the backlog, it looks like the backlog is better. I've seen quite a few people within, I would say, 14 to 17 days getting their work visas through now. So, next chat, René de Klerk, can we do do's and don'ts what South Africans coming to New Zealand should and shouldn't do or expect? Yep, I'll work on something for us on that. Okay. Anel says that your search on your police clearances is irrelevant on your surname as your ID number is the... Yeah, that makes sense. And also remember on police clearance you leave your fingerprints. So they go on the fingerprints. You could have a fake name as well. They're going to find you out there. How difficult was the IELTS test? I was one of the lucky guys. After we've applied for residence, 2 weeks thereafter, they only brought in the IELTS test. So I can't tell you how difficult it was. So, yeah. Jan, my financial advisor said money markets are a no-no for putting my pension fund into. Advice, please. Chantel House, get a different financial advisor, please. I'm currently a financial advisor in South Africa as well. Money markets have outperformed any equity market for the past 5 years. Okay, get this right. The money market has outperformed the equity market for the past 5 years. And if you don't believe me, see what the bigger guys are writing out there. Money market has absolutely outperformed the equity market by about 8%, I think. And equity market is your shares. If you can think about shares, look where the Johannesburg Stock Exchange has gone to. Shares aren't doing good. Shares is very volatile currently. They are waiting on a miracle, and I don't think the miracle is going to happen. Sad to say that. All right. Weather this morning, Willem. Weather this morning, fishable. It's really fishable. There's there's no clouds in the sky. It's a bit chilly, but it's fishable. So that's how we check our weather. But it is getting colder here. Guys, that was our 30 minutes, and this is the last Facebook Live in this format. From next week, I think we will have hopefully a better thing for you. So keep tuned in, and see you guys all next time. Do good. Have a lovely evening and stay safe in South Africa.